Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be talking about how to have a good Tatsumaki. Now, she's kind of like the fourth, fifth character on my team. As you can see, this is the loadout on my team currently. For commissions, I can usually swap Silverfang out with Zombie Man and then have Tatsumaki as my fourth, or Metal Knight, depending on which is the better character for the specifics. So Tatsumaki isn't quite my main character in my team, but she is very, very solid, and that is why I'm making a guide on her right now. I do know how to play her, so yeah, I can give some decent pointers and some good building tips. So yeah. Also, if my voice is a little low or a little quiet, that is because I am sick. I've been sick these past days, and that's why my uploads may be slower coming into the future. I hope not. And then once I'm getting onto my break, which is going to be in around 2 weeks, I'll be scot-free. I won't be sick anymore, and I will have all the liberty to make content if I choose to do so. So yeah, I've also been busy this past weekend, so that's why I haven't. It's been harder for me to upload, even though I have been uploading quite a bit. So yeah, let's get right into this. Let's start off with her skill list. So for Tatsumaki, as you can see, this is the pursuit skill. It's a ranged pursuit skill that is very, very solid, and it will usually hit. There's not really much struggle there, as all pursuit skills do normally hit. Now for her ultimate, she may have one of the best ultimates in the game. Basically, if the enemy isn't floating, you will hit this ultimate 10 times out of 10. It's a ranged ultimate where it spawns basically an X on them, and then it does a ton of damage. And her ultimate animation is absolutely sick. It's bonkers. So, very, very solid ultimate. Now for her skills, core mechanism is basically her telekinetic marks. If you don't know what this is, basically, if you charge it all the way up, it charges faster via long distance or optimal distance where the crosshair is yellow, and once it is going into a full circle, you can use telekinetic spear, which will make you be able to use another move in your R, and that is to transform into basically transform, and you can go into a free flow mode where you can fly around and attack at the same time. Now, the reason this is a great gimmick is because basically most characters in this game can't run while hitting. They have to do an attack animation. But Tatsumaki, she can float around in circles while attacking. So it's very, very good for mobility. It looks clean, and it's going to help you dodge attacks insanely easier than if you were being a normal character where you'd mostly rely on your dodge. You could just dodge moving your strafe keys because you can still attack. This is a temporary liberation state, but you can chain these together so that you can be in the state for like most of the battle. Now, normal attack is pretty good. It grants you a lot of points for telekinetic mark, and it is doing much more damage and charges much more when you're doing optimal distance. Optimal distance, you want to be attacking at all times in optimal distance. Gravity bombardment, it is a gravity move that does a lot of damage, and it's pretty good. Black hole, main DPS move. The enemies can run out of this, but a lot of the times they do get stuck in it. Some people have said Tatsumaki is bad for waves of characters or sheer amounts of characters, but I say no because of this ability right here. This ability sucks them in, and it is the best AoE ability in the game, flat. No arguing about it. I haven't seen any other ability that does as much damage as this does. If you find her in Abyssal Wanderer, this move, put her on main character, you suck up all the enemies, and you'll do a ton of damage by the end of this ability, and it's going to absolutely fuck up your enemies, which is going to be really good. Now, I've talked about this. As you can see, telekinetic spear, and then of course the transforming mode. Right here you can see it is very good. Now she has a dodge as well, which can actually be an accurate dodge if you're in detonation mode or the enhanced free flow mode. So yeah, we got normal attack. It's basically just an enhanced normal attack, and then we have enhanced black hole, and enhanced gravity bombardment. They're basically just a better move. As you can see, they just do more. They look flashier and they do more damage. And then telekinetic tornado, that's gonna do a ton of damage here. And then of course you can get your telekinetic spear, I think right here, and then you can recharge your ultimate without having to go into the shift mode. When you use telekinetic spear, you'll just recharge this cooldown bar right here instead of having to do the whole initiating your free flow animation. So that's very, very helpful. Now going on to potential. This is basically penetrating eye level limit, very, very solid. Tear trembling, this is insane. Basically telekinetic liberation. So free flow mode basically gives you 18% more damage, and you basically, if you just use it right, you will never exit this mode for the rest of the battle once you're in it. So P1 Tatsumaki is insane. I might have to get her. It's really solid. So next time she comes around, I might drop a couple bucks just to pick her up because it's a very solid potential. Now, potential 2. 1% of character panel crit rate adds an additional 0.4 attack bonus. Sorry. So if you're at like 65% crit rate or 75 crit rate, you're probably going to get around 30% attack boost, which is pretty good. So this can actually give you a lot more damage. Now here's your accurate dodge. If you're at potential, you can get an accurate dodge, and it'll just give you telekinetic mark. It's alright. It's pretty decent. Mind you, up here, very solid PL potential, and then telekinetic tornado increases damage by 10% each use. So this is alright, mediocre again, because it's just for the telekinetic tornado, and you won't be using these 3 times a battle, so it doesn't really work out. But for longer battles, I guess it can. So yeah. It depends. It really depends. Now this one's insane. Basically you get telekinetic spears, and if you hold down your M1, you will throw these spears, right? I didn't go over that in skills, but if you throw these spears, they're these stars right here. You can use your abilities and throw your spears at the same time, which makes it very good. And you can only use these in liberation mode. So once you throw these spears, right, you get 4 at the start of your thing, but they can stack up to 8 if you want. But if you do every time you switch modes, you'll get 1, right? Every time you go into free flow mode, you'll get 4. This makes it 4 to 8. So you can throw a full force 8 spears, and every 8 spears you throw and hit, you will get the tornado, right? And that means every single time you enter the mode, you can just spawn a tornado in, which makes you do an insane amount of damage, which is very strong, and it's very good. Now, her weakest part is probably going to be her arms. Her arms is very okay. I guess it's free to play friendly because she gets your attack one, she gets her heal one. Very solid. Both of these are pretty nice. But for pay to win players, for example, if you're playing, let's just say Atomic Samurai, well, you have Composure Break. If you're trying to play Atomic Samurai, you have Atomic Samurai? No, this is a Mime Mask. You get a damage one, right? But she gets a defense one, which is not good because you get an attack arms, and usually you want to focus on how much damage you deal, not how much defense you have, because if you kill them earlier, you're not going to have to worry about this at all. So there is that to note, and it's very notable because her arms is basically dookie. Increases the crit damage, pretty decent I guess, but this stuff is really useless. This stuff is really useless unless you're doing Dispel, and then again you're gonna need Tatsumaki for multiple enemies or ranged Maelstrom. So she's not gonna be very useful with her arms. But again, she does have a good attack. Her crit rate goes up here, which is nice, and her damaging arms is pretty good. And then her healing arms is actually very strong as well. So that's very nice. Her healing arms is actually really good for keeping her alive. But I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that. So there is that. Now, memories and wills. Here are my memories. I got some pretty good memories here overall. My main issue here, I think all of these are actually ×2. Like, look. These ones are all good. All of these ones are good. Range of Truth is even good on this in this one. And then you can see, very nice, very nice, very nice. But the problem I have with this is basically I don't have a good easy peasy. For example, these guys have these easy gold affixes to get, but she doesn't have that because she's an event character, so she's harder to build. So if I get like an easy peasy will, for example, and it's a gold one, well then my build's gonna be better. So that's an issue here, but I do have a bunch of other ones that give me easy peasy, and I have almost a perfect build when it comes to memories, except for range of truth, which I could have put into impassion. So my wills are going to be my weakest point, because they're only they're not even purple, they're just blue, which is a problem. Like even these guys have blues, but they also have like golds in them, right? So that's the one glaring issue I'm seeing. Is like, and even Atomic Samurai, what separates these guys from their PL is literally their will. This guy doesn't have any purple, this guy has a purple, right? And that's almost a 2000 PL difference. It is a 2000 PL difference, more, right? So there's that. But yeah, so you want to just invest in crit rate first of all, and also easy peasy. These should all come first, and then the bonus, the surplus, you should have impassion. Full stack on impassion. You could have range of truth, it's possible, but it's better you go for impassion because of their attack boost, and you're basically not going to have any much leftovers, so it's only going to be impassion. It's going to be like, let's see, you could, if these were all gold, you could have impassion and range of truth, which would make you insanely broken, but that's not the case, because if I'm at all blues, just go for impassion. Just go crit rate, right? Easy peasy, impassion. You could do it in that order if you wanted to, or you could just do crit rate first. But easy peasy, I think, is very, very good. Optimal distance gains the damage bonus, right? And short range attacks don't actually go out of range, which is very, very strong. So that means you can go up and close and personal with your enemy, and you can almost tank for your team and just accurate dodge them if you have the PL, which is really, really good. So that's very, very nice for her to have. So yes, she's a very strong character. Now, a couple tips: you can just use the telekinetic mode at the very last second before it expires. And you should always stay moving when using this character. And there was one more, but I forgot about it. So let's just get right into free training. So let's go do no attack, and we're gonna see what she can do. So always stay in optimal distance first of all. As you can see, I'm trying to, stay in the kind of vicinity of the enemy, and I'm trying to keep my distance, but again, also not go out of distance, because she kind of goes backwards ever so slightly every single time she attacks. Like, look. So yeah, see, I'm out of range, so I hit it, right? I missed it again. So as you can see, if you miss, or if you take too long, there's actually a kind of smallish window, because if you miss it, then you have to restart this whole thing all over again, and is a very difficult issue. So there is that, and it is a struggle. So I'm going to do this right when it comes out. Once I switch modes, I can use my E and then throw my spears. My spears have been thrown, half of my tornado has been charged, and then I can just keep hitting him. See, now I gain my ability before this timer has run out, so I'm going to use the spears again. Now I can throw these spears, and then tornado vortex, boom. And then I can repeat this exact same process, and just completely chain my thing. And this makes it very, very easy for me to chain my abilities, because if you look at it, I'm not running out of my mode right now. And see, I've been having full mode for basically the entirety of the battle. I've been doing a ton of damage, some good DPS overall. Solid 30k is pretty nice. Composure DPS is not the best, but then again, that's not what we're aiming for. Almost right there, almost ran out of time, but as you can see, I'm stacking up and I'm just doing a ton of damage whilst staying in my mode. Now I'm gonna come out of my mode here, and I'm gonna see how much damage I do. So it was around 30 DPS when I'm not in my mode, and I'm doing actually quite a bit when I'm not in my mode here. But basically, let's see if I can do some damage here. Out of my mode, I'm doing significantly less, as you can see, and it's not even close. Like right here, not much damage. I'm doing like 6k DPS less, so it's actually very beneficial to be in your mode, of course. So that's very good. And yeah, so overall she's really good. And the one thing that's going to stop you from entering your mode is being hit stunned. So if I'm going to go do Swift now, like if I get hit stunned and I'm trying to get into her interface, and let's just say I'm trying to charge up, whatever, I get hit stunned, it's going to be a pain, right? As you can see here, he's getting completely staggered though, so I can actually come up really close to him, and then if the guy aims for me, you know, like let's just say I'm ranged, right? And then the boss is going to come for me, right? Let's say it's Pluton, then he's going to come charging in, and then I'm going to dodge, and my team's here. Like, let's just say my team's melee, they're gathered around him. If I am ranged, I'm going to make Pluton run towards me, right? And what that's going to do is that's going to make him aggro towards me and get up and close and personal with me, because Pluton's a melee character, and he's going to make my melee characters, instead of attack him, run to him, right? What I can do instead to not make this thing charge is jump close to him, and since I have my piece of cake level 3, then my optimal distance won't be lost when I'm, you know, when I'm right in front of him, right? Like when I'm directly in front of him. So it's not going to be an issue. It's not going to be an issue. It's not going to hinder my DPS, right? So like, let's just say I'm up here now. Pluton won't have to charge at me. He's going to start attacking me like Crablante is right now. So let's charge this up. And what's cool about this is, look, I can just run circles around him. And look how he cannot hit his attacks. Like, I'm running circles around him. This guy's absolutely tweaking out. He cannot hit his attacks for shit, right? So there's that to note, and it's very good because like I said, close range is nice because let's just say you're long range. Look how long it takes to do a full 360 around the enemy, right? But let's just say I'm here. Let's just say I'm here, right? I'm running circles around this guy extremely fast, and that's gonna make it so he can't actually hit me very well. And not only that, I can attack while I'm doing that, so I lose no DPS whatsoever by moving around in a circle. So if I'm attacking like this, I can just start moving around and dealing a ton of damage while he can't really do anything about it. Look at this. Unbelievable, right? Like, he can't do anything about that. And that's what a lot of Tatsumaki players aren't doing, is actually doing that, because it can just totally tweak out the boss. Basically, you know how composure break is to basically keep the boss standing still. You can make the boss stand still just by running circles around them, which is really, really good. And then, like, again, he's absolutely lost. I know there's more attacks than just, you know, Crablante's basic attack, but you get the point, right? If you can manage to do that, then you can actually completely just clap up the enemy. The enemy can't do anything, and she's going to be really, really strong, right? So let's head right into the battles here. Let's do a quick tier 16 commission, because I am completely confident Tatsumaki can pull it off. Very, very solid character here. So let's start it off with, let's say, frick it, let's go Pluton, one of the hardest bosses in the game. So yeah, let's put him in here, and no healing affix, no healing whatsoever, no dishes, no nothing, just pure raw. So let's go right here. I'm gonna try to get, I used too many arms, that's my bad. I can literally get up close, and that's what's really cool, because that means all my other guys can actually attack her without having to retarget. And not to mention, if you have that accurate dodge, it's gonna give you a bonus telekinetic marks, which is gonna be really good. Oops, I did not mean to click that. Anyways, I'm gonna go into telekinetic liberation mode. M1, use my abilities. Pluton's HP is gonna get drained, and I'm gonna do the same thing. The problem is he's gonna spawn his tornado, so I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna come back in here. And the problem is he does have a dash already as it is, and you can't really change that. So there is that. But again, as you can see, I'm moving around, making Pluton literally just spin in circles, and once he's in his attack form, he's gonna completely tweak out and miss all of his hits. Like, if I just go here, look, he just completely missed his dash. He's gonna jump in the middle, whatever, that's fine. I can move away from his tornado, whilst not getting stuck in. And let's just say I'm not trying to make him get into his shield mode. I'll let him go into shield mode actually, but I could have interrupted that with my ult at any moment. And as you can see, this guy can't target me. Look, completely just running circles around him. Like, he can't aim at me. Even with this 360 move, I completely evaded it without even using dodge, which is perfect. It's the best. It's makes her such a fun character to play. But again, she's kind of skillless. But then again, if you need a cheat code to win a match, Tatsumaki is always your play. Look, I'm at this much of HP, they're at this much. I didn't even use my ult. I didn't use like my abilities to its fullest necessarily, but showed you how you can evade, and she did a considerable amount of damage. This guy only did more damage than me because he had 50% more damage, right? 50% more damage, because it's a morale type attack, right? And this guy has 18k PL. I have 5,000 PL less, and yet I outphased him in damage, right? I outphased Metal Knight in damage, and Metal Knight's a beast on AI, right? So as you can see, I completely pieced up Pluton, had a great job, and completely destroyed everybody else. And I think she's a very solid character. But as you could see, she didn't quite kill it, even though I was playing as her. She didn't quite, you know, destroy them in terms of damage. Maybe that's because of my build, but her damage is alright. And I've learned that P-Sonic, right? Prisoner Sonic, where is he? And My Mask are unbelievably solid in terms of damage. So these guys are kind of like Tatsumaki, but like they're fast slicker and they have those kind of movement evasion options. Like, for example, Prisoner Sonic has he has his parry and he has his kind of dodgy moves, right? His E kind of makes it dodge a little bit. And on My Mask, with his mode, makes him pierce through the enemy, makes the enemy completely miss his attack because you're behind them now, right? So there's some good alternatives to Tatsumaki, and they're both limited characters. These guys are all limited characters. So I'm making this guide. You guys can watch it when she's about to come back and you haven't got Tatsumaki yet and you want to know how to play her right off the bat, and it's been recent, so you actually have a good updated opinion on her. And it's also for old players who want to find a new outlook on how to play Tatsumaki, because running circles around the enemy like that in close range is not exactly what Tatsumaki users do. Usually they go to the very corner of the range and they spam, and then when an attack comes they just kind of glide around and then they just dodge, glide around like very, very out. But I like to go kind of around the enemy, very up close, which is actually a very fun way to play it. Now if you are missing attacks doing this, fine, just go back up, it's perfectly fine. But I like to play kind of like that because it's a little different. So yeah, that's basically what I like to say about Tatsumaki. She's a very, very solid character. She's very good. I like how she can kind of fly around. I really like that about her, is like she can like float around, which is really cool. And it looks a little different from all the other characters. And one thing before I go, try not to get knocked around with Tatsumaki. Like, you can lose your flow, kind of like your flow of things, and it can make it so you won't enter your mode again, and you'll come out of your mode, and then you'll lose even more flow by like losing your rhythm, and then you can just get absolutely destroyed by the enemy that way. But yeah, that's literally about it about Tatsumaki. There's not really too many secrets to her. She's a very straightforward character. And one more thing about her AI is her AI is pretty solid. It can be dumb at some times where it doesn't move in the free flow state, but it basically almost does the exact same. So she is a very solid AI character, almost as good as Metal Knight. So yeah, she's very flexible. You can run her as your main character, or if you have somebody like Zombie Man that definitely needs the main character role, or Silver Fang, you can just slot Tatsumaki into AI and she'll do perfectly fine for you. So yeah, that's what I'd like to say about Tatsumaki. One of the best characters, one of my favorite characters in the game. I did put her in my list in my overrated video because she was regarded as the best character upon release, the best character in the game. But again, these two have showed up and they have rivaled her pretty well. They've gave her a run for her money. But again, she's still usable, she's still good. So go ahead, go out there, play Tatsumaki if you have her. And if you don't, good luck waiting for the banner, because she's still going to be just as good as she was upon release. So that about does it. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.